So, good morning. Today is 25th April 2015. We are Hucolo TV, www.humancolonies.org. Thank you for joining us today. Sorry for the late start. We've been having a few technical difficulties with our audios, so I want to be a big welcome to everybody who's listening and watching on YouTube. Thanks for sticking with us. We're rolling straight away. First of all, before I introduce everybody, I just want to show people I've done a quick screen share here, and we know Google Plus can get a bit crazy sometimes with all the beeps and bleeps. So if you want to remove these from your attention, and also when you're joining the webinar to make it a little bit more flowing, there's a little cursor up at the top right-hand corner here next to Hangout. If you click that once, you can then go down to Sounds for Incoming Messages. You could uncheck that, and then you'll have no more beeping, and your phone won't beep all the time when people are doing. And that would just mean that it's a better experience when you're in a group and people are talking, but you might not want to leave the group, but you're getting annoyed by it, you know, and you want it to be, you still want to be part of the group, hangouts and chat. So I think that's a really important thing. If you want to do that, you can choose to do it for 2 days, 1 hour, 8 hours, or you can choose to take it off permanently. So that's the first announcement. Second announcement would be to congratulate Max on his channeling. So he's been doing some epic webinars, so congratulations, Max, on that. Also for Ivan, we've had some really enjoyable channeling sessions from Ivan coming up recently. Tune in for those, watch those. Sabrina has on the 28th at 2 p.m. EST special guest called Montserrat. Is that correct, Sabrina?
Yes, that's correct.
She will tell you more about that in a minute. Also, I'm running a Remember How to Channel workshop with my little friend Echo Bear on the 27th, and that's going to be at 7 p.m. EST. Next week, Jim won't be here, so we'll be having a random webinar. So I'd like to invite people to come and step up, and if they want to do a little bit of channeling that week, they are more than welcome. I know my partner Kim will be there with me, and she will be channeling her entities, and she won't be doing it all, so we are inviting other people to come through and do that one. Also, 23rd of May, just a reminder, will be the guest with Rob Gauthier. And Jim is also going to be on the radio with him sometime this week. He'll tell you more about
27.
that. So, big welcome to you all. Thank you for sticking with us. Over to you, Sabrina, and have a lovely webinar today, guys.
Thank you, Rowie.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody first. Mark, Sandy, and Will that are accompanying Jim today. Hello, Jim.
You're here. Hello.
And on the hangout we have Adriana, Gurdan, Justin, Pegasus, Rowie, of course, Noha, Sarah, and Zenaida. I would also like to remind people when they're putting questions on the website for us to ask, we would like to keep them together. So probably if you put it on the page of the webinar, it's the best thing because it stays with the webinar, and I can go there and look at them and write them down. Try and limit the amount of questions you ask. If you feel you have a lot of questions, sometimes it's just easier to just book a session with Jim. Of course, even half an hour. You know, it's reasonable. It's $45. So, and like that, you get a lot of questions answered at once, and then you can come to the Hangouts and get just one by one questions answered, because I know it's difficult sometimes to do them all at the webinars. And of course, yeah, I want to say hello to all the people that are watching us today. And if you have questions, I guess the best thing is for you to type it in the Hucolo box. I know there have been one chat box that had been made for questions, but a lot of people left. So So I guess the Hucolo box or the Galactic language box will do. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Sabrina and Rowie. Thank you very much. I'd like to say that I'll be on the radio with Rob Gauthier on Monday, the 27th. So I'm not exactly sure what time because we're in different time zones, and I can't remember right offhand, but I will be getting in contact with him today. Also, don't forget the event on the 20th of June with Rob and me and Krista Riza. I think that'll be a lot of fun because Lakesh is going to be there, and I know that he's really excited about it. So every time I talk to him, he mentions it. So welcome, everybody. I love you very much. Thank you for joining us today. And if anybody has someone that they want me to channel, let me know, because today is an open forum. So I just one at a time. Hold on one second. One at a time. Unmute yourself and let me see if I see you unmuted. We'll call your name. Is that Nitrous?
Yes. Well,
who did you want to talk to?
Yes, my name's Krell now. I changed it. So, well, I request Metro Lamas.
Okay. Anybody else? Sarah?
Sarah cannot speak. She can't speak.
Oh, I can speak.
Oh.
I can speak. I request anyone from the Mermaid, I guess, city. I want confirmation.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Who's next?
Adriana. Hi. Hello?
Okay. Hello?
Did you have somebody you wanted to request?
Yes, I wanted to see if 𝗪𝗎𝗍 can come through today.
Who is 𝗪𝗎𝗍?
The entity I channel in the class, remember?
Okay, very
She's a
good.
Pleiadian.
Okay. Anybody here in the room want to request anyone?
Anyone from Girk Fitneer that could speak on site to site. Tekkrr came through yesterday and spoke with me about site to site.
Okay.
Anything about site to site, because there's been some site to sites as well as people that are getting messages of going site to site.
Yes, site to site is a big issue right now. They're talking to the nations on the 30th of this month. There has been some site to sites going on, but they're illegal in the sense, but they have been happening. But it's not all Girk Fitneer that's doing it. It's different ones. But when they catch them, they stop them. So that is one of the things that I think is important to talk about. Anybody else?
I have one request. I have one request,
Yes.
and it's the Syrian light being called. Let me see if I can pronounce this correctly. 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏.
My
He's
goodness.
been here. He's been here on Earth for 800 years.
My God.
Yeah, he's a light being.
Can I pronounce it another way, Sabrina?
Go ahead, Rowie.
Ishtistash, or Ishtistak?
Yeah.
Ishtistak.
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 Difficult to pronounce. I can put it in the chat if you want it in the chat. You can read that. But I don't know.
Ishtak, is that correct? Ishtistak. Ishtistak.
That's how Kim is pronouncing it. Yeah.
Ishtistak. Okay. We'll call. That'll be another entity we'll call.
Sabrina might have it better than I have.
Ishtistak.
Jim, I have a request.
I think we could get a good perspective from him, since he is an ET, but he's been on Earth for a long time. So
yes.
So is he Sirian or Andromedan?
He's Sirian.
Oh, I thought you said something else earlier. Beg my pardon.
It's just black. Okay, who else?
Jim, me, I have a request.
Yes.
This is Noha. I was thinking about Dolores Cannon as a past spirit. Also, Cryon is my favorite. And Tekkrr is always welcome. That's all.
And what, Cryon?
Cryon and Dolores, yeah.
Dolores? Who's Dolores?
She's the one.
Dolores Cannon, she does hypnosis and she has passed away. Yeah.
Okay.
She's working on the other side.
She's working on the other side with people. Dolores Cannon, correct?
All the practitioners, yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. I think that's enough. We'll start calling somebody in now. I don't know who's going to come. You got a lot of requests there, so probably more than one will come today, but we'll see who's... But remember, you have to do the time limits on them. If you want somebody else to come in, you can stop asking questions and ask somebody else to come in. So, because a lot of times in spirit or in wherever they are, their time is not linear like ours. It's they can manipulate it and things, and they don't keep track of it the same way. So you'll have to keep track of what we call time. So, very good.
Okay, Jim.
All right, I will see you in a little bit. God bless you all. Much love, and I'll see you in a little while.
Thank you.
I have heard you mispronounce my name many times, and no matter what accent I use when I come in, it will still sound like an accent. So it does not matter how you pronounce my name, 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗏, or whatever. But it is not really important. What is really important is that you know that I am here and helping in my dimension with the third dimension. Do you understand that? Yes. The lightness of my being within this dimension is quite pleasant, actually. I do not have to deal with all the unpleasantries of the third dimension, as you might gather. However, I see many, many disturbing things within your dimension, and I've been here a long time, so I've seen how your dimension has moved forward, your timeline, whatever you want to call it. This reality that must continue is moving along at a very interesting pace, faster and faster. Actually, there are some of those, as the Anunnaki or different societies, that would have you slow down. Now, we understand, I understand, there are many that understand that slowing down would mean bringing the next step in evolution farther away, which is not something that we require, is not something that I see as necessary, because those of you who grasp it understand it almost completely in some forms. Does that make sense to you? because I am seeing that the negative is getting stronger and the positive is getting brighter. So the yin and the yang, or however you pronounce it within your culture, yin, yang, yi, and yang, it's all the same, but it is getting stronger in the sense that they have to stay balanced in some way until the point of enlightenment. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I've seen in 800 years, 823 actually, is that the thought processes of fourth dimension are changing. Fourth dimensional energy is awakened more and more. However, some of you grasp onto it, and some of it use it to and bring it into your third dimensional life as a tool for third dimensional stability. Many of your husbands and wives are unequal to you in their fourth dimensional understanding, but not necessarily in their use. Because they use it in a different way than you use it, doesn't mean that they don't use it. They are using it to remain stable, balanced, and grounded, whereas you sometimes are using it to become more enlightened, gather knowledge, and bring things in from the outside. Now, that is to say you are grounded through to the fourth dimension, which we talk about many times, and but is still a perception that some can't perceive because they're still too far into the fourth dimension to bring the information back to the earth in a grounded way. You must learn that concept. It is nice to float around in the fourth dimension. However, it does you no good because you cannot bring all the information back. So what I am saying to you is stay grounded and move up to the fourth dimension. I know some of you have, and this is an old story and you've heard it many times, but there are still those of you that need to hear it again because you're saying, I really don't know how to ground. But you have to find that through your meditations. Intend your meditations to ground. Use your objectivity, your earthly third dimensional body to understand what is around you and how to deal with it in a way that is logical. Because you see, many of you have many problems, and it's because you can't relate to the third dimension. It's like, oh, I have... And also many physical maladies because the third dimension is bombarding you, but you're not accepting it. You're taking it inward and causing yourself pain and sickness and things of that nature. If you stay so long in the fourth dimension, it's not healthy because you were born to the third dimension. And sometimes it causes headaches and backaches and all kinds of different maladies because you're not supposed to be there that long. You're not supposed to stay up there and not be grounded for that long. And some of you find it wonderful to float around in the fourth dimension, but you must be grounded in the third dimension so that it evens out. Does that make sense? Your body is not balanced if you're more in the fourth dimension than the third. It's because you were born to third, and I know there are people that speak to me when they call the spirit, and they say to me, please take me out of this world forever. Please remove me from the third dimension. Please, I cannot stay here any longer. And that is because the third dimension is harsh for you, but you were born into it. You have a contract with it to some extent. You can change your contract a little bit, which is some people know and some people do not. But you can work with the third dimension to make things okay. It is not, you are not grounded if you want to leave Earth completely. Because that is not what you are here for. You are here to help with the ascension. You are here to know what you are to do in your talent schemes. Some of you say, I have no talents. Come down to earth and find them, because they are there. You may have communication skills, artistic skills. You may have many kinds of skills that are not able to be understood from a fourth dimensional angle. And many of you live in the fourth dimension too much. It's fun, but it is not healthy. It's not healthy.
So what's the best way that we can integrate the third, the fourth, and possibly fifth dimensions into a healthy way of living in today's transition?
Right. You must be grounded. The grounding portion is more than what it sounds like. The grounding portion is that you are in touch with the communications, with the aspects and the dimension of third dimension that you need to affect. It is you that is affecting the third dimension, not the other way around. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
You are building your third dimension. You can reach up through the fourth and fifth and how many ever dimensions you want to reach through, but you must affect your third dimensional existence, which is to say you have a reason to be there. Now, if you float around in the fourth dimension, you're not really doing much in the third dimension. You're not affecting it. You're not communicating with it, and you're not giving out the great love and compassion and talents that you are to give to the third dimension. Now, of course, you are bombarded by the third dimension. However, you're also shielded from it in some ways because of who you are in enlightenment. Does that make sense to you? Bringing out your soul in your enlightenment is a creative thing to do. Some people say, I have no talents, I have no creativity, I have no nothing to offer the third dimension. Wrong. You have much to offer the third dimension. Your soul and your existence are dependent on the third dimension, as well as you giving to it to enlighten it, to lighten it, to bring it to the next area. You're interactive. You build your future. You've heard that many times. The law of attraction as well is third dimensional in its essence, because you must be here to accept that what it's going to give you. It is third dimensional, not fourth dimensional in its essence, but third dimensional because you're bringing it to the third dimension, are you not? You're not bringing it to the fourth dimension, you're bringing it to the third dimension. So in order to receive those things that the universe has to give to you, you must be grounded through the third dimension. So it's wonderful to believe that the fourth dimensional is all wonderful and good and that's where you belong. No. Your gifts are in the third dimension. Now they can be enlightened and enhanced by the fourth dimension if you ground up through. Do you understand? Now, having an understanding of what grounding is, I think some of you do not know what grounding is. Am I right?
Can you lead us with an example?
Yes, grounding is that you're able to communicate well with the third dimension and give information from the third dimension to others to help them move up with yourself, to be an example of what you should be in the third dimension, because if you are in the fourth dimension, you cannot bring that, you do not have that understanding. Do you see? You have a fourth dimensional view, and therefore you cannot communicate as properly as you should. And if you find yourself not being able to communicate with the third dimension, if you find yourself not being able to feel unattached to the third dimension, then you are not grounded. You must be attached with your mind, body, and soul and spirit to the third dimension and then move up with that grounding attached. Your communication skills, your love moving out into third dimension, your talents being used in the third dimension, your heart being loved, sending love in the third dimension. And then you can go up to the fourth and bring information down that can be communicated to the third dimension. Do you understand that? How important the information is that comes down about spirituality, about your movement forward in a great ascension, in a great evolution of thought and mind and spirit and telepathy. There's more than just telepathy to evolution. There's more. It is a communal movement. It is an attachment to the third dimension moving up. You cannot move up if you're not attached to it. You have to bring it up with you. You see, you cannot just attach to the fourth dimension and try to bring things up with you. No, you have to ground, move up, and rise. You cannot start up here and then try to reach down and grab things. No, it's not going to happen. Does that make sense to you? Gravity is the essential part of third dimension in many ways. It keeps you pulled into a third dimension. Do you understand that? In many ways, I can use it as an example of third dimension. Mother Gaia is third dimension. Trees and plants and animals and things of that nature. Third dimension. They are all part of who you are. You see, if you have allergies and things of this nature, why would you and Mother Gaia be at odds with your physical body? Why would that be? Perhaps it's because you moved from one place to another, and there's different things on different parts of the planet that may not be the same or they have the same essences. But if you are in agreement with Mother Earth, if you are attached and love Mother Earth and are grounded, why should she harm you whatsoever? Why should there be allergies? Unless it's to plastic, something that's not real, or something that was created by mankind. You should be in perfect harmony with Mother Gaia at all times. So if you do have allergies to things like mold, I would look into that. Do you love the mold? Does the mold love you? Why are you at odds? Are you negative toward the mold? Are you negative towards something of Mother Gaia? Because everything on Mother Gaia should be in your best interest because it is there for a reason. Do you understand that? So now, that is just an example of grounding in a way where Mother Earth can actually reach out and love you as a whole person. It may seem odd that I would bring that up, but if you do have at odds, or if you are at odds with Mother Earth in some ways, then you are not completely grounded. But you can be grounded and still have some odds. But I digress. The thing is, yes, you are like a tree, and you've heard that many, many times. But it is such the good example because it has the limbs that go into eternity and the roots that go into the ground. I feel that there are many questions out there.
Yeah. In terms of communication, as you were saying that, what ends up happening sometimes is that it's hard to relate in terms of sometimes what most people wish to talk about. Is not something that interests you any longer. So, I mean, can you give us any pointers in terms of that? Like, how to make that bridge?
Yes, okay, there are many people that are not on the same levels. That's what you're talking about, because communication seems to go up and down and all around, because there are some people on the lower levels and some people on the higher levels of conversational and ideas and what they want to talk about. Of course, humanity is very diverse, and it's been noted that humanity is very diverse. However, what is missing in these portions is actually listening with the heart. Many people just listen with the mind. They go, oh, not this again. Oh, I'm so bored of that subject. But you know, there's something to be learned when you listen with the heart, because this is someone who is talking to you that needs your guidance because you are up here, not in stature, maybe in understanding, but that does not make you higher in equality. It just makes you higher in your understanding. Do you understand that? That your love is equal to their love. Your being on earth is equal to their being on earth. Your everything is equal to them. But if you listen with your heart, they may be asking a question. They may be looking for information. They may be looking for that example that you can give them that they did not understand before. So your communication may not be much necessary. More of your listening with the heart may be necessary, and then you go, aha, aha, they are here. I used to be there. How did you get from there to here? Because you are the example to them. You are the learning tool because you've made it through that area that they're in, perhaps. And now you are in a different area. You can pull them up with you, with your information, with your example, with your love, with your thoughtful words. Because if you're listening with your heart, guess what? You're going to answer with your heart as well. You're going to answer with a connection of the heart and the mind. And when you answer with your heart, guess what happens? There is a connection, because everyone feels the heart when it goes out. You feel it when there's heart spoken to you. You feel the heart when it speaks, do you not?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
You can be the heart. You can speak as the heart in third dimension to help those people come up. Too many people thinking with their brains and not letting it go to their heart. It is good to think with your brain sometimes if you're in a calculus class, or if you're doing something intellectual which does not attach to the heart, but guess what? It's going to attach to the heart anyway. But because of your love of the subject, it will attach to the heart. But if you let the heart answer some of these great questions, or listen with your heart so that you can be prepared for what they have to say. Because if you look and say them, that if you look at a person and say, oh no, I don't want to speak to them, I know it's going to be boring, your intention is not to listen. That is your intention, because you spoke it to yourself. You said, they're boring. And what is that saying? Shut them off, cut them down. Listen with your heart. There may be many cries of help out there. There is one on your site that has been trolling. His heart is hard to find. But you know what? Many are listening with their intellect and not their heart, because he is broken.
Yeah, and I think that's where sometimes, you know, it becomes difficult, because sometimes the conversations tend to be very materialistic.
Yes, and you will notice when it does go in that direction, who becomes defensive. It's not him, unless when you talk to him with your heart, he becomes defensive. When you talk to him with the mind, he becomes the aggressor.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, yes, that makes sense. Yes.
So therefore, I spoke to him a while back, and everything that I said to him, he had a defensive answer. Because I was speaking to his heart, and he did not want his heart to speak. He did not want anyone to be able to get to his heart, because that is the part of him that's injured. He's been very misused, very misunderstood, and you will not get to his heart with intellectualism or saying what you believe is right and telling him he is wrong, because that is everything that he's heard from the people that broke his heart.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
so
you.
Therefore, I'm just using that as an example, and I love him dearly and accept him for exactly who he is, because he cannot be any other way right now without an example. Without an example, without the heart being engaged, how can he possibly change? Not possible. Because there is not any acceptance of himself or from outside. No one is accepting. It's not accepting. It's not inclusive. To him, it looks exclusive and unfriendly. But he's the one that's being unfriendly, but he doesn't know that he's reflecting that completely. And when he does know, it brings him joy, because that is something that he's been had, and he wants to give it back because he thinks it's only fair. But the thing is about that, he'll get it back even more. He'll get it back even more. Because what you give, you receive in many ways. Your karma.
Hello, 𝗪𝗔𝗧𝗏. Hello,
yes.
𝗪𝗔𝗧𝗏. Hello there, dear one. My question for you, how can you help us on Earth? So what do we do with you in coordination?
What do I do with humans? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I do many things with humans. There are those that are enlightened enough that can listen to me and know that I am with them and am a protector in many ways. However, I'm a learner and a teacher. What you teach me is who you are, what you believe, and how you move in third dimension. Now, and how you also move in fourth dimension, because I am well above fourth dimension, but I see where you move in fourth dimension. However, I'm a teacher. There are things that happen on the earth that seem totally unfair, unright, just horrible, and things of this nature which I see. I cannot do anything about them, because this is not a world where I do anything that will change your third dimension. I let it go, and I learn and teach that what it is like, going to be like in the next dimension. So therefore, I am helping you ground in many cases, because I will come to you and say, you're spending too much time in fourth dimension, or you're spending too much time here, and you need to balance out and make yourself more well balanced. You see, as well-balanced human beings, well, even if you're not well-balanced, you're still perfect in a sense that you are made who you are. But when you balance the thoughts, the love, the spirituality, when you balance these things, enlightenment and power are yours. Why? Because you understand more things and are able to affect change. And change is inevitable. Do you want a positive change or a negative change? Nothing stays static. Do you understand that? And so therefore, my push with some people is to move a little faster, because they believe they're static. They don't see that there is anything happening. They're still moving either forward or backwards. There's no such thing as remaining still. Does your planet remain still? Does the universe remain still? Absolutely not. There is nothing in the heavens or earth that remains absolutely still. Nothing. It has a vibration. What is a vibration? Vibration is movement. So everything has a vibration, even the space between the stars, where there is everything still has a vibration. So therefore, nothing stays static.
So whenever we are static and we're stuck on Earth, we call for you, right?
Yes, but you are not static. You're still moving forward or backwards. You're not staying still.
You know, at times nothing is working. We're fixed. You know, we're not moving. We feel that. You know, that's why.
You feel like you're not moving. You feel like you're not moving because you're not connected properly. When you connect properly, you will feel the movement. However, you may still be moving up in your vibration even though you feel like you're stuck in the third dimension.
Exactly.
Though you're stuck somewhere, you're still moving forward. You know why? Because you're looking for the answer to that being stuck. When you ground yourself and look at who you are, do an introspective, do the proper intents for you, you will move forward, I promise you.
Great,
because you will see what static isn't. What static isn't is you. You are not staying still. You are not.
One more question, then.
Only thing that is stuck is here.
Okay, one more question. My question is, where do you reside on Earth? You're in a physical being or you're in an astral being? And where do you reside on Earth?
But I have some physical places to go. And I do come to some bodies and inhabit them physically. And I've been here a long time. So, of course, you can't inhabit a body for 800 years. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
But I do have certain bodies and certain energies that I like to mingle with.
I see, because I heard about Babaji, you know, from India. This personality or entity has been on Earth for 500,000 years. And I'm not sure about is it correct or not, because it's something unbelievable.
But it's not the same body. It's the same spirit, but not the same body. The body won't last 500,000 years. The body deteriorates and you have to get a new one. So that I know for sure. And if a body were to last that long, you wouldn't want to see it. But
of course.
The thing is, yes, there are spirits that have been around for many, many centuries.
Yeah.
I've been around many centuries myself.
I feel though your teachings is kind of shamanic, isn't it?
Shamanic is different in different areas. Different shamans teach different things. Different shamans are connected to different entities for their teaching. Different shamans, the most powerful ones, the shamanic teachings that are most powerful, reach out to the universe and bring the information back from there, because some are earthbound entities that earthbound spirits, I'm sorry, that shamans bring in, and they can only give a limited amount of information because they are earthbound. And other shamans move out into the universe and bring greater information because they can. Now, the reason for the different kinds of shamans, let me tell you, it's very simple. It's how you are brought up to be a shaman. Your teachers are those that teach you how to be who you are. However, there are some that have broken free of that because of some technique that they used that brought them to a different place, and they were able to expand a little bit more. Now, I know that many of you understand how drugs, that's what you call them in your regular normal lives, that how they affect the brain and things of that nature. There are intentioned drug uses that take you to different places with intention, not for pleasure, not for recreation, not just to go, oh yes, that's really good and I'm floating around, but there are times in certain parts of your life as you are growing, you may need to expand, and they can open up a different aspect. But there must be an intention, there must be boundaries, and there must be understanding of what is happening, and you must be able to handle it And it must be something of clear mind and conscience and freedom within your spirit and understanding that this is somewhere that you are going to go for a spiritual reason, not for fun. Not for fun. It is maybe fun to do it, but the intention is for knowledge and for moving, opening of channels, for opening of aspects of the third eye, for opening up psychic pathways and things of this nature. Not for fun. But you have to be totally balanced to do this.
Yes, we were expecting a great entity, spirit, called Buddha. He was teaching us a little bit more about this. And we're looking forward to his next lesson on these, let's say, arts.
Yes, he will be back. The reason why he has not come back for a long time is because there was much growth needed, and many others had to watch the first of his, watch all of his watch his 6 videos and get an understanding of where the 7th was going. So the 7th is very important. It's the crown, but he still has more to speak to you about the third eye chakra. But there are people watching all the time the Buddha videos. More people need to watch them before he goes any further.
Okay. I have a question from Hayan about when you were talking about communication.
Yes.
So he was asking, so how do we reach the person's heart if we don't say to him what to do? What do we say?
How do you reach? Let me understand the question. How do you reach a person's heart if you're not able to speak to them?
No, if like you don't want to tell them what to do, but we want to somehow reach his heart or her heart. How do we do that?
This is in reference
there are several ways actually. Continue.
This is in reference to what you mentioned earlier about someone's heart being so closed and so broken.
Yes. And what did I say? Be an example to them. Let your heart love open their heart love. Now, with this situation, I know what he speaks of. I happen to know what he speaks of, and the way to get to this person is by example for one thing, and to let them know that you accept them no matter who they are or what they are doing. I say to them, look, you are equal to me. I do not agree with what you are doing, what you're saying, how you're feeling even. I do not agree to it, but I agree that you have the right to feel that way. I agree that your third dimension has brought that to you and you accept that. But I cannot. I cannot accept your third dimension exactly the way it is. But I will continue to love you as a full person, as an equal person, as a wonderful being, as a full personality. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you realize when someone accepts you for who you are completely, a change happens? There is a change. When someone says to you, I accept you for exactly who you are without exception, there has to be a change. It may not show, it may not be immediate, but they go, oh my God, this person actually really knows who I am in a sense, because they've accepted who I am. When you actually know somebody for who they are, you may not know all their facets and everything, but when you accept them for who they are, there is a change. Does that understood? Do you understand that your lover, your mate, your best friend, whoever that is, has accepted many, many parts of you for exactly what it is? And that makes a change. Now, that is only the first step, but that is the first step you must take. And if you've already taken that step and you've not seen anything happen yet, don't be impatient. Sometimes people question and test you on what you have done. They will say, "Oh, so you have accepted me, have you? Well, then accept this." And they will push you. They will test you. But you can say, "Aha, I know who you are. I understand that. I cannot accept that that is not who I am. That is not who I am. But I accept that that is who you are, but I don't agree with it. Or it is not a loving place. Or it is not a spiritual angle." You know what you can say to these persons, because for the most part, someone that you are trying to reach in this way is somebody that you know pretty well. It's not a stranger off the street. It's not somebody you're going to walk up to and say, "I'm going to try to change this person, make them." These are the people that you know pretty well, but you haven't accepted something about them. But you have to accept that bad part as well. You have to understand that. You have to accept that bad part, because that is part of who they are right now, in the here and now, and in their eternal now. Their now. That is who they are. So you accept it, because you cannot give a change to someone you do not accept. You cannot be an example to someone you do not accept. You cannot be effective with someone you do not accept. At least that's my opinion.
Answer. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have questions?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm as well as I can be.
Awesome.
I'm glad. My question is human dream always under control?
Are the human dreams always under control? Is that your question?
Yes.
In this day and age, human dreams are less under control than they used to be. Let me explain that. In the past, I've been here 800 years. Dreams from the past used to be of only things out of experience. Do you understand that? But let me tell you about human dreams nowadays. Sometimes a dream can be from the universe. A dream can be from a spirit. A dream can be from me. A dream can be from a fellow man. Why is that? Fourth dimensional energy getting stronger and stronger. Fourth dimensional energy connects people in a greater way, connects you to the universe in a greater way. How many of people like Tesla and Einstein and different ones have closed their eyes, went to sleep, and woke up with an ingenious idea that changed the world? The universe is speaking. The universe is putting it in your timeline that this particular understanding is necessary for you to move forward. Do you understand that? Many thoughts of genius come from outside third dimension. And so, yes, your dreams are being more affected now within the last 300 years. And it gets crazier and crazier in some senses. How much manipulation of dreams there is by aliens and outside forces and spirits and fourth dimension and the universe and the Akashic library that is opening up to you, and the different things about the Akashic library that are sending thoughts to humans who are open and can understand and perceive that idea. And yes, there are some dreams still that are just third dimensional, brought about by third dimensional things. However, the more awakened the fourth dimensional is, the greater the influence.
So on the subject of dreams, hello, Ishishtak. I keep seeing I keep seeing an idea of a flood, like the water rising from the ocean and a tsunami keeps drowning everyone around me, and I keep surviving for some reason. And at first I thought it was an emotional situation, but I've dealt with those things, and yet it still keeps coming.
It's a spiritual situation, actually. A lot of people around you are not as spiritual as you are, and you're fearful for them that they will get lost in a spirituality that doesn't bring them any positive or good things. Now, also part of that dream is about the weather changing, and yes, there will be more of those kinds of things. However, in your mind, this is a spiritual problem. You feel like you are surviving spiritually, but you're not helping those around you survive spiritually. And I'm not sure why you feel that way, but you're actually helping them. You just want to help them in a greater way than you've helped them so far. Now, in order for you to survive, tells me something else about you, and that is that you are alive in your spiritual life as well. Am I correct on that? Yes.
Yes.
So I will tell you, their spiritual lives are coming along because of your example, but in your dream they will not drown the next time because you're connecting to them. You are going to connect with them in one way or another. It doesn't mean communication-wise. It can be a thread of light, a spiritual connection, a love that you will connect them and bring them up. It will be a connection from the heart. That is what's missing from the Ascension. Too much intellectualism and less heart. More heart is needed and less intellectualizing of it. So you try also to intellectualize some of these things, but that is all right. Being smart, intellectual is fine. It is fine, but connect your heart to it. Do you understand that? The heart is where your telepathy and where your psychic energy is really the strongest, and your love, an example of love, is a path to ascension that is stronger than any. Your love for each other has kept you together in human colony, and as friends, there's love, like in Kim and Rowie. They fell in love through the consciousness and through the ideas of being together on this. They spoke with their hearts and not just their minds, and it has caused a connection that is unbreakable at this time. Continue to dream and think with your heart. Not that intellectualism is bad. I'm not saying that. The more you learn, you can take care of yourself and train others on higher spiritual concepts. But let your training be from the heart of these intellectual concepts. Because that way, they will have a spiritual value as well as an intellectual value. And you will be able to share your heart and your intellect with those. You see, teaching, those that are the greatest teachers, teach with their heart. Because you gain more than knowledge from them. You gain their example of who they are. And whenever you said, you know, I love that teacher. I love them so much. They taught me so much. Why is it that you love them? Because they were strict and cruel and cold? Hardly. Hardly. These were the teachers that showed their heart, their love of the information, and love of the learning from the people that they were gathered with. Those are your favorite teachers. Those that showed the passion to you from their heart. not the ones that intellectualize and put you down if you didn't know the answer to everything. Not the ones that called on you because you were talking. Those that are in love with teaching and in love with the fact that the people want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going with this?
I do, but I keep coming up with these ideas when I meet certain energy and certain 3D ideas that keeps coming at me because they want things to be, they understand things from a certain perspective, and I'm showing them another way, and yet it's not, there's no communication.
Correct. Why? Their hearts are not open. You cannot open someone's heart except by example, except by the showing them love. The thing is, you say ideas. Where do ideas come from? Up here. So if you have ideas from here, it's much warmer. But I understand where you're coming from, and do not worry about that. Do not try to teach them, because their hearts are not open to learn. They have their own perspective. They have their own thought process. They are closed. End of story. To be open is to share your heart. But if they are closed, why waste time trying to teach them anything?
Yes, that's where I am, and I don't like to feel like that. But
the thing is, you must live with your heart open as well, not only your mind. And I know that you feel for them and pray for them and understand that their perspective is a very solid, yes, but you cannot change for them, and they are not going to change for you. Now, that is just third dimension in some of its form. Now I take the some of these religious sects that believe that you should kill everybody and purify the race and things of that nature. They're set in their ideas. Who's going to change that? Who is going to change that? Because they think that their heart is right. Guess what? There are different kinds of hearts. There are different kinds of right. And you are right in your heart. But you cannot intellectualize anybody's right or wrong. You can just accept them for what they are, who they are, what is with them. Just accept them and say, I understand how you feel in some ways. I just don't agree with it. That is all you can do with some people, because sometimes when you stand up for yourself, instead of trying to bring them to you, they see your integrity, they see your heart, and they see that your mind has something that maybe theirs doesn't have. Maybe you have something in your heart that they don't have. Your acceptance of them, instead of trying to teach them at this point, just accept them and love them and go, I can't agree with that. I mean, if it's the truth, it's the truth. You can't agree with everything. Because your perspective is different than everybody else's perspective in the world. We all have our own perspectives of how things are. Even though there might be a slight change or a slight difference, it's still a difference. There is no two people exactly alike. No two people that have exactly the same perception, because why? They're all looking from a different angle, and they're all looking from a different spiritual angle, and they all received some kind of spiritual thought in a different way, or received their love in a different way than was given, than they are able to give, or it's not simple, but yet it is. Love is love, and when you receive it, you receive it. When you know it's there, you know it's there. Very, very simple. Break it down to the very, very, very simplest part, and love exists, and it is the answer to many, many things. However, we complicate it and make it so tough. Just accept them. Very simple answer. Acceptance.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you, by the way.
I love you too.
One of our members wanted to know about repeating numbers, and I was wondering if you could talk about that, if you have knowledge on that. They wanted to know if there's like a language connected to it, and how can
yes,
we
before you
understand
find
it.
out that, yes. Numbers connect everything. Oh dear, how do I tell this? There is a numerology is different on every planet, and let me tell you why. Because you're connected from a different section, a different perspective of the universe. So numerology is differently connected in every part of the world. Now, here in this section of the world, your numerology, I know that you have the same definitions all over the world. However, you have to remember some of your numerology is based on time, which does not exist. So, to look at numerology in the universal perspective is to bring a different insight to it. And yes, there are numbers that mean great deals to people, and there's repeating numbers like, of course, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 1, 1, 1, 1, the 4, 4, 4, the 8, 8, 8. There's so many numbers, and they mean a lot. But you don't know what they really mean unless you learn numerology inside out and backwards, because at the very moment that you see these configurations of numbers, they're in a certain perspective,
Exactly.
They're in a perspective, but you have to make that perspective and understand that that's not coming from the third dimension. The numerology that comes in repeating patterns comes from the universe and from spirit and from the understanding that there is something going on in your life that those numbers will attach to. And when you see them repeatedly, it means that there's either a change coming or a change has happened, and this is a little bit of guidance. It gives you attention to those particular numbers at that time, which you need to just bring into your head. You may not have to understand them, but the very fact that they're there in your head and the very fact that you were brought attention to them, just bring them in and accept them for that time. Okay? That's all I want to say right now. But the numerology of the universe is different on every planet. And let me tell you why, because of perspective. Now, you see your perspective as a twirling planet on different sides and different degrees. When you get those numbers, it's directly correlated to something in the universe that you are facing towards. And something in the universe that is speaking to you in your life, and you may not have to understand it, just accept it. But some people do understand it because they do know numerology, and they do understand it in a deeper way because your belief systems bring numerology into correct perspective in some senses, because your belief systems are strong. Now, some people go, belief systems, oh, please give me a break. Belief systems don't work. I know that. You know what? If you believe in your belief system, if you are attached to it, if you know it, if you have a strong connection, it does work. Why? Just because it does. Because it is part of the law of attraction. When you believe something, when you bring that something to you and you see it working, then you have to believe it, right? That is your law of attraction. When you believe something as strongly as you do, like I believe in the light and the love, and you're bringing those things to you. When you put that into your belief system, they are there. It's the law of attraction. It is the law of numerology, because the numbers will line up for you.
Okay, so when we see it, I know you said to just accept them, but
yes.
Like let's say like the 111 that a lot of people see, it
Correct.
means a different thing to everybody, or is there like an underlying meaning to it?
there is a similarity when you see similar numbers. However, the perspective is different. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The meanings may be the same, but the perspective is different. It's so hard to explain because you can't see the perspective necessarily unless you're looking at the stars. But that perspective is beautiful and synchronistic.
Yes, for my belief system,
Okay, so should we...
I see. Sorry, Sabrina. I see 1-1 as a sign of enlightenment, and I see 2-2 as a sign of duality. But is that just my perspective? Is that my belief system there?
It is. But let me tell you something about that. It works for you, and it has meaning for you, and therefore it is correct.
Right, because that's what I was talking about. So that if I had put some kind of view, let's say whenever I see the 1111, I think of one particular thing.
Yes.
So I'm putting my own perspective on it, and it's irrelevant what everybody else believes.
Exactly, because your perspective counts for that. Your belief in what it means is relevant.
Okay.
And that's when it comes to you, when it's relevant in that perspective.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes. She said it's a wink from spirit to let you know that you are perceiving things correctly. Yes. In many cases, when you see the 2-2 Rowie or the 1-1, your perspective is in alignment with those numbers, and therefore your belief system is correct because you believe it is. It has come from the perspective of the universe because they are giving you that perspective, and they have a reason for giving you that perspective in that way. Do you understand that?
Uh-huh.
We may not understand it in the moment.
Correct.
But given gratitude that we did recognize it is important.
Yes.
What would be your perception on the 33 or the recurring 3 number?
And what about the idea of making wishes when you see these numbers?
It's a wonderful thing to make wishes on these numbers at times because things have lined up for you to be able to do that if that's what you believe.
Exactly.
You see, in your perception of what you are feeling and understanding, it is the perfect time for you to do that. And that is the law of attraction in a more powerful way because it is connected to a solid thing. It's connected to those numbers that are solid. You can see them. However, the thing you're wishing for may not be seen. Does that make sense to you? The thing that you are wishing to is now connected to something that is physical. Something that is right there in front of you. You can see and you can say, there's the 33. I'm going to be getting my wish pretty soon. You're drawing that energy into that. Do you understand that?
Yes, thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you. Zenaida, you have a question?
Yes, I see 333 every time in my clock on my phone when I grow up. But I have no wishes. I don't. What?
333, I understand.
Yes, and I have no wishes. I don't think about anything. I can just cook and grow up or whatever.
This is a belief.
So what is the reason?
Yes, I understand that. It's a belief-oriented number. It's a solid and stable number of threes. You believe in 3 entities for this. You believe the triangle is power, and that has 3 sides. There's many different things that have 3 angles, and you are a 3-dimensional person. So therefore, your 3s have great meaning to you. And when you put together the 3s, it is very powerful at that time.
So it's like I'm bringing those numbers to me to see it, or I'm receiving from whom?
Yes, you're receiving confirmation of your 3s.
From whom? Is it entities that I'm receiving.
You're bringing those threes to yourself for confirmation of yourself and for the beliefs that are correct and perfect within you, because you see your perception is set up in threes. Sometimes others, it could be Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It could be the three edges of the triangle. It could be many it could be third eye. Perhaps many things, but you know what they mean more than anyone else, because it's your perception, your perspective, and your belief.
I think Pegasus has a good question.
Pegasus has a question.
Continue. His name is Crawl.
Robert, do you want to ask the question?
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that our beliefs create our reality. Like, so how can you tell a fact from a belief? Because take Earth, for example. I've heard and met some people who believe that ETs and UFOs aren't real, yet regardless of that belief, they still have a UFO experience or an extraterrestrial experience regardless of what they believe is true.
What does that tell you? Doesn't that tell you that they're in conflict with themselves about this belief? It tells you that they are understanding of the existence of such things, but they do not want to accept it. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. Human third dimension is all about perception, acceptance, and belief systems in many ways, and that's why the fourth dimension appeals to people more, because they can float around and accept themselves better in the fourth dimension, because they don't have to deal with all these different things, because they're not grounded. You see, they're not grounded in the third dimensions, but if they were grounded and went to the fourth dimension, they would understand that the fourth dimension is just as organized as the third, only in a different way. So what I'm saying to you is, yes, they are not accepting what they know to be true, but someday they will, because they've already admitted that they've seen the flying saucers. They've already admitted that they believe in aliens, but yet when it comes to come out of their mouth as belief, see, belief is something else, and acceptance. So there you have it. Did you have a question?
Not a question, just a statement.
Yes.
They say they don't believe,
yes,
but they know.
That is what is true. They say they don't believe, but they know. That is what Mark said. They know what is true. Sometimes your belief system is not based on what is true.
Well, and that's where it sometimes gets confusing, because even like when we had a session with of someone from Atlantis, then there are, like, I don't know how many versions of when it happened, how it happened. Was it started by Pleiadians? Was it started by Yahyel? So
they have their perception of it, and you see, they have their perception of it and how they were told that it happened. And some were there at the beginning and some were not, and it changed. Like I said, nothing remains static, and all perceptions could be true from a certain angle. All the things that are said, there may be a part of Atlantis that was very different from this part of Atlantis, and this part may have had Yahyel hierarchy, and this part may have had Pleiadian hierarchy, and there could be many different perceptions from many different sources. And so unless you were there, it's just like your city. You're living in a city. Have you seen the whole city? Can you actually give me an idea of what the entire city is like? No, you haven't lived in the whole city. You have your perspective of what it was like. You have some people may say there's a lot of aliens in the city. Other people say no, there's more white people or black people or Latinos, or they may perceive it as a different city altogether. So therefore, your perceptions of Atlantis, there are many. Let me tell you. I went back to visit Atlantis many thousands of years ago. Well, not that many, but a couple thousand. And it was an amazing place, but there is no way I could tell you what it was all about. Even I, as a spirit, and understanding many, many things about it, couldn't tell you everything. Unless I go to the Akashic records.
But is that due to parallel realities that there's different ideas, or is that because somebody stands at a different angle when they're looking at it?
Because yes, actually it's many things. It's perspective, it's perception. Because your perception of things is different than anyone else. So you can perceive, perhaps, there's a person that will walk into my house or into a house or whatever place. I don't have a house, actually, but this house I was meaning. And they could walk into this house and see and perceive something that 10 other people would not. Some people would come into here and notice the rug, or the flowers, or the cabinets, or the atmosphere. But you see, not everyone would perceive the same thing. So there is perception, there is a belief of what it is all about, which captures there's how good your vision is, how good your color concept is. There is so many things. And I've heard 100 different definitions about one small apple. So therefore, when you're perceiving something as large as a city or a place, therefore your perception can be wildly different.
Okay,
yes.
So...
One moment, please.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do with nothing being real out here, that it's all a hologram or an illusion?
No, it's about everything being real.
But we create it as we go along.
You create your perception of it, yes.
Right.
But you see, you create your perception of everything, but that is in line with everybody else's perception in some way. You see, together you perceive it and make it all that it is. It is not just one perception that makes things what they are. And that is what's so intriguing about third dimension, fourth dimension, and all the other dimensions, is that there is that creativity within you. You are gods. You create part of that perception.
But I've heard, like, this is not solid. This is just something that we perceive to be solid because we collectively agree.
Well, if it is not solid, then you can perceive it as not being solid, and it won't be.
Right. That's how creative we are.
Correct. So she is saying we perceive things as solid, even though they may not be. So if your perception can come in line with the fact that this is not solid, it will not be.
Stephen?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I have a question for you. If I had used an example, it's like you took everybody in this now moment, for instance, all 7 billion humans, and we all went to the time of Atlantis as what really occurred on this timeline. Then what I'm trying to get at is that we will all perceive what happened, what truly happened, the facts that occurred on that timeline. But what I'm saying is, how do you differentiate from what truly occurred, the actual factual events of, say, this person, the Pleiadians, say, helped with the destruction of the volcano that came and destroyed Atlantis, or whatever? What's the actual factual truth as opposed to what people perceive? Like, all, say, for instance, all 7 billion people in this now moment was actually in Atlantis, and what would be the actual facts as to what happened and how do you differentiate from what people believe and the actual facts?
Well, let's do it this way. All those 7 billion people live their lives in Atlantis, correct? And then right after they come to the Oversoul, they write everything down. Then you would compare the different perceptions, and guess what? You will come up with a reasonable idea of what happened. Reasonable. Not exactly, but very reasonable.
Sweet,
and that has happened with many cultures. Let me tell you something about that. Because when you do go back to the Oversoul, you do re-look at your life, the lessons that you learned, the things that you did, the watershed points, the places where you made great decisions and having things work out, having things not work out, your illnesses. You look at everything and you have a perspective of your life that you did not have when you were living it. You have a perspective of your life looking at it as a movie, let's say, because you are making your own little film as you speak. You are putting into the nows what is happening now. And at the end of your life, when you go back to the Oversoul, you will find that movie to be quite interesting. And you'll want to watch parts of it over and over again. Why? Because you learned something there. That perspective was something that you didn't even realize you had until you came to the Oversoul. You don't even realize some of the things you say now if you walked around with a tape recorder attached to your body, let's say, and you listen to it at the end of the day, you'd be going, oh my God. You would. You'd be saying that because you don't even realize how you sound sometimes. You don't realize that that you sound hostile sometimes when you don't really mean to be, or sound loving sometimes, or condescending, or whatever, and you don't really mean that. It is just the way it comes out because the brain has just put that in there subliminally, and you are actually saying exactly how you feel through the tone or accents in your voice, and some of you would be amazed how negative you are. And you say, you're being very negative, and you'll say, absolutely not. I'm not a negative person. I don't say anything negative, and yet if you take your little tape recorder off, you'll hear, oh, my arms and legs hurt today, my head hurts, I don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. 8,000 little words that say that you're not well. And you say, well, that wasn't negative. Oh, it absolutely was. You just put that into your cycle of negativity that's coming around and around. Oh, I feel so bad. My head hurts. My leg hurts. My mind hurts. So-and-so is a real bitch.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
However, so if everyone went to the Oversoul and they wrote down what they perceived happened, what is the reasonable facts of what happened? You
won't know until they do it. So they
haven't done it?
Oh, well, of course they have. But they're not. It's from all their different perspectives. So I'd have to bring all their perspectives into from the Akashic library and put them together and say, okay, well, this is pretty much the reasonable outlook. Atlantis was a wonderful and brilliant place to be. Atlantis was, I mean, this is just a general idea from the things I know about Atlantis. It was very advanced. Its technology was advanced. When they left, the technology left. Let me put that again. Has anyone found any technology from Atlantis anywhere on the Earth? Anywhere.
No, but could it be in another dimension?
After Atlantis was destroyed, the seed species came and cleaned everything up. They did not want you to know anything about that period in the technological sense because you're not ready for it. So they cleaned up that technology because they knew that somewhere down the line someone would find it and reverse engineer it and destroy the planet with it. So they were smart. The seed planet came and cleaned up everything from Atlantis. And that I know from the things that were written in the Akashic record. But from what has been written and those lives that have come and looked at their lives from Atlantis, do you know what they've learned from Atlantis? What most people learned when they were there? How to communicate better, how to be more loving, how to grow in spirit, how to fight health issues. All third-dimensional stuff.
How to be a community.
How to be a community. Very good. But you see, it's all third-dimensional because they were in third dimension.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well,
does anyone else have any more questions?
I think that I grow long.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I wish I could pronounce your name once again, but like you said, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. Just call me Ish. I don't care. Call me Ish if you want. Say Ish. Come on, because you'll never pronounce it correctly. The pronunciation of it is not even earthly, so it's like it's like to pronounce it. This person probably couldn't use his vocal cords probably to pronounce it correctly, so I won't even bother. Ish. Just call me Ish.
Can I just ask you a fairly personal question? Do you miss your homeworld? Do you miss where you're from?
I'm Sirian from my homeworld. My homeworld is Sirian, but someone said earlier they thought I was from Andromeda. Well, you see, Andromeda is where my seed planet is, but my spiritual planet is Sirius, in the Sirius area.
Is it Sirius-ish?
Sirius-ish. There's a perception. That is a perception. Sirius-ish.
So, do you connect to the Sirian energy of the mermaids on Earth?
Yes, I do. There's still some there, but they are not in great population anymore. There's about only 1,000 that I know of. Maybe a little bit more, but not very many. And they stay away from the shorelines. But every now and then one will die and get washed up on the shore, and then the scientists will have a field day. So it has happened just recently, actually, within the last 10 years that has happened.
Well, I had a meditation this week, and I felt like I went to a sort of mermaid city, and I turned into one. And I felt gills on my stomach region, and I was the mermaids, the dolphins, the whales. It was kind of like cool, but crazy at the same time. Was I here on Earth? Was it a city on Earth, or was it like somewhere else?
You had a past life as a mermaid, so you were able to relate to it so really. Your name was 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏. And you were able to, that was within the last 800 years, so I know that.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So you have some sort of a communication with the mermaids on Earth?
Yes, I'm in spirit still, for the most part. I do come into people. I do live some of my life in human bodies, but for the most part, I stay in spirit because that's what I'm supposed to do in many cases. It's hard to explain to you, but I am allowed to come into humans for specific purposes.
Well, if you can send them a message to meet me once, if they ever come to Israel, I would like to see one of them, if they are interested.
You'll meet a mermaid someday, I think, just because of the path you're on. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
You
Will
have
I
many
speak with you again?
dimensions in your. You have a multi-dimensional spiritual life, so it's interesting.
Thank you.
Well, I must go. Is there any more questions first?
No, but I do
I've
want
taken up all the time.
and I do want to welcome you to visit me.
Ish. Just call me Ish. Call Ish. I will know what you mean.
Ish, it's man, in Hebrew. Can I call you man?
You can call me whatever you like.
Thank you
It
for
is only a
coming to
perspective of who I am. I am here no matter what you call me.
Thank you very much, Ishishtak.
Thank
Yes,
you, Ish.
thank you. That was very enlightening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I knew
Have
there was
a
a reason
great
why I was
day.
fascinated when I read about you.
Yes. Well, I will talk to you sometime in the future,
Okay.
I'm sure. But I hope I gave you a good perspective on things. And make sure that you are inclusive. That is a thing that is... There's two main points that I wanted to make. Remember to think with your heart sometimes when it is necessary to reach out in love to another. And know that your perspective is important to you, and you don't have to change it for anyone. You can keep your perspective unless your belief system says to change it. So therefore, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Much love, Ish.
Much
Love
love.
you.
Much love. Thank you.
Wow, that was really good.
Nice one,
Gave us a
Sabrina.
lot of information to think about. We're going to have to listen to this one a couple of times because I think there was a lot said there that will benefit us.
Yes.
It's hard to be in 3D. Like I said, I need to croak to understand. Oh my God.
Hello. Hey, how are you doing? I need my water.
Yes.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Jim.
Good, Jim. It's 12:12, guys.
Well, okay, so we're
Get your belief.
for the 1212. Contact 1212.
Oh, 12, 12.
12, 12. I want to go to the
Well, it's
community.
one of those numerology things, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a 6. If you add them together, it's a 6, and that's a power number.
Yes. So we had
All right, there you go, right there.
Ish
12, 12.
came.
It's all about your belief and what works for you. So
Exactly.
it's all about the perspective.
Yep, that's exactly. I think that's what
You
he was
know who
talking
came
about.
through? Do you know who came through?
He kept saying ish. Yeah.
Yeah. He shortened his name since we couldn't pronounce it correctly. I will go back and memorize it though. Yeah, but he was
All
very
right.
good.
Was he
I
good?
got woke up exactly at 3:33 a.m.
He was excellent. He was excellent.
Oh,
A lot of good information was given today.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So did I,
About
Justin.
bringing
Yes.
down the fourth dimensional energy into our three-dimensional lives.
Now,
Sorry,
see,
Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, somebody's talking?
How you feeling, Jim?
Alrighty. Well, yes.
I know we were a bit late today starting, so how
Yeah.
are you doing for time? I just want to check on
Yes.
plans for today and if we can go any longer, or do we have to wrap it up?
How is everybody doing? Do you want to go longer or do you want to stop? I forget who all was called. They said that they're
okay.
willing to go a little
There's like
bit
a
longer.
minute. There's a minute delay on mine, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
see,
some
there's
people
something wrong with
wanted
my
to
hangout,
occur.
but
I know.
Grandal.
I know some people wanted to occur.
Yes, about the meeting. The meeting.
Jim,
Governments.
Jim,
Yeah.
Jim. You were channeling consciously a little bit.
I was what?
Conscious channeling a little
Yes.
bit. You were conscious channeling a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Illegally.
Illegally?
Is that what she said?
Illegally? Is that what you said?
No, a little. A little.
A little.
A little, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I came through a few times, yes, that's true.
He's did say my house.
Yeah.
Meaning here.
Yeah. Ish said my house, I was here then. Yeah. But he meant, yes, my house.
I love you.
I love you too. Is there, who else was mentioned that I could bring in for just not a long time, maybe 15 minutes?
Can we bring
Grendel.
Or Grindel?
My
Grindel
brother
met
says
for a long
Grendel.
I know Justin, I think, wanted somebody from Girk Fitneer, and
for the talks.
and Z also wanted somebody from Girk Fitneer. So
Well,
I don't know
okay.
if Tekkrr is available.
I could check for you. I always have Tekkrr and the cash on the back burner. I tell them every time I come to a webinar that if they need to step in, please do, because especially the cash has time to, and Tekkrr mostly does. She can manipulate it, so those two I always keep handy just in case nobody's gonna come.
Yeah, because
So.
some want to know about the meeting also. So
Okay, very good. Well, I'll bring someone from Girk Fitneer then, because Lakesh won't know as much about that as Tekkrr or Pentim or Dees do. One of those. Yeah. Tikawa. I'm Tekkrr.
Muha.
Muha. Welcome. Ikawa. Do you have questions for me?
people want
Yes.
an update on the meeting Tekkrr. And
Yes.
you could talk a little bit about that, and then people can ask questions.
Yes, there are many perspectives to bring into account for the meeting on the 30th. Greetings. At this point, we are incorporating some human assistance, and that we feel is important. We are also bringing in the Federation of Light, because they are important and they are known to humanity, as well as some other groups and councils,
And then site
because we would like to bring them
interrupted.
all into an understanding that we are working together and that it is not an invasion as they still sometimes think. However, they're not liking the fact that we are custodians to them as well, but we must look after them to some point. The larger of the countries, such as Russia, China, Japan, United States, India, and Great Britain and things of that nature, are the most concerned. Some have moved toward us that were not in our favor before, such as France and Germany are moving in our direction, in Israel, and Australia moving in our direction at this time, which we're not really, we're more on the fence or in the opposite direction in the past. So now we are looking forward to bringing a new perspective to every country, more interesting and more personal than we ever have before. We are bringing Elohim to the conference in some way as well, and some portions of other species that they are not aware that are in alliance, not alliance, but in communication and agreement in many cases to our cause. So therefore, I'm not sure if it will frighten them more or if it will bring more calm to them. But they must know how many species are here to witness the different things that are happening. And we can help with sight to sight. And therefore, I would contend that many of you have volunteered to come to the council with us. You are not all permitted. They may permit some, but many of you would definitely like to be there and sit in on it. It would be a wonderful thing if you could all make it, or all be approved, but that will not happen. They are reluctant to have some of us even be there holographically because we do not look the same. But they have been more accepting of it lately. I guess they're getting used to it a little bit. But, like I said, we will find out how well that it goes on the 30th. Is there any questions?
Yes, Justin? Okay.
Greetings, Tekkrr. This is JC.
Yes. It is because there is a great
I just had a
delay
quick
for him
question in regards to site to site. I am aware that I was transferred site to site, and there was a Lyran energy that was related to it.
Yes.
Just seeing if you'd be able to speak on that.
Yes, there was a Lyran energy attached to that. It was someone from Girk Fitneer, but not on the ships. They wanted to see if that would be detected. It was just an experiment. You and 3 others were chosen, but it was detected, but not immediately. So it was just it was not that we wanted to be disobedient. That is not the whole idea. It was just a quick transfer to see if it would be detected and how long it would take for them to detect it as well. So we are working on different kinds of technologies, and also we knew that the people that we chose, that your energies would be accepting of the Lyran transfer energy. It is a different density slightly than the other transfers. Do you understand?
I'm having a little bit of issues with my internet. I'll listen to the message a little later here.
Very good.
Thank you. Yes, I got your message telepathically in regards to others that were transferred as well. I felt as if Sister Liney was one of them as well. Caroline Cooper.
Caroline, yes. She has much benefit to learn to move in this way through Lyran lines as well. Yes.
And what I noticed was I woke up at 4:16 and walked across the hallway, and when I walked back it was 4:56 a.m. and I was able to feel the energy and see the energy, if you will. And I remembered the last thing I was doing there, and when I came back here it was all downloading.
Yes. Was there any color associations for you?
Thank you so much. Much love.
Yes.
Hello, Tekkrr.
Much love, y'all. I love you guys.
Hello.
How are you, sweetheart?
I am very well, thank you.
I miss you very much.
Yeah.
My question is about the hybrid Lyran child that I have and Sabrina. We would like to know if they're born already to give an
I could not hear you very well, but it was about a hybrid child.
With Sabrina.
With Sabrina. What would you like to know?
About my hybrid child, it's born, and Sabrina's hybrid child, it's born. And we would like to know if it's a girl or boy that we can name them.
Boy. You haven't named him yet, have you?
Oh no, I would like to name the boy. It's 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗓. 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗓.
Interesting. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, and much love.
You're welcome. And Sabrina, I will talk to you about your hybrid child on Monday.
Okay.
Let us leave it open for more universal questions.
Pegasus?
Yes, hello, Tekkrr. Well, if we have time, I want to ask two questions. One was about the 𝗪𝗧𝗧 canine entities. I heard that they actually started doing site-to-site, and I was told that I'd be taken to their world. Are you able to give an update on what it is they're doing?
Well, the thing is, they were discovered and put and stopped. So they only had done one transfer, and then were stopped. This is not helping our situation because there are too many that are doing it and not legally. So we actually were stopped as well, but we had have a very good explanation for ours. So, but there are several different places that started to do site to site on their own, but were stopped. There is only one species that can do site to site and not be detected, but we cannot mention their names because then they would be detected. Word.
Okay, and I wanted to ask about a Lyran named Isaiah. I was in a channeling with her, and she said that there was a lieutenant on your ship.
Yes.
Are you able to tell me who
she is? Checking you. She is checking out the abilities between you two and the compatibility factors.
Thank you.
I cannot say more. It would be too personal.
Hello, Tekkrr.
Hello. Brian, how are you?
Oh, good, my friend. How are you?
I am very well.
I would love to sit in on that meeting.
There are those of you that are going to come and those of you that are not. I cannot say who is who.
I know. Yeah, I would bring much to the table.
I believe that is true. Yes.
But
there's much to discuss on this next meeting, more and more all the time, because as you know, perspective and angles are different all over the world. And for us as well, different species in our alliances see things in a different way as well. So we must be careful to bring it into the right thought process.
I feel many of them are also based in what we say fear, but also comes from their religious background.
Many do, yes.
So it's a way to reach their heart somehow that really opens up, and especially when if they can identify with maybe angelic energy or angels or something, they can start there, what their beliefs are, something to break that boundary, break that barrier, where it can become more acceptable.
Elohim is involved.
Good. Yes, that's very important. I think it's going to have to take from spirit somehow to reach their hearts. But thank you so much.
And that is why Elohim
Yes.
It was suggested by members of your colony that Elohim be involved.
To some degree, yes. For all the work that you do behind the scenes, Tekkrr, and to Deesdu and to Pentium, I love you so much, and I respect you guys so much for what you do. And here on the ground, we're just gaining these perspectives of how to integrate this energy to really bring our spirits up to the forefront, and how we can be of an assistance to many of you. So thank you.
You are quite welcome. Blessings to you.
Much love.
Much love.
Roy, did you want to ask Slava's questions?
Yeah. Tekkrr. This is Roy. I have a question from our great friend Slava, who does so much work for us. He says he's starting to feel a presence around him. He says he describes it like a gentle breeze. It's happening more than once.
Yes.
He wants to know what this feeling, this presence is. Could you give him some clarity on that, please?
Yes, it's his daughter.
Ah, wonderful. That ties in with the hybrid questions.
Yes.
I also quickly... Sorry, carry on.
His daughter, I believe her name is Anna.
Oh, fabulous. I'm sure he'll be so happy to hear that.
She is quite bright and quite interested in his graphic and video work, because she is also interested in that subject matter, but will bring him some advanced thoughts about it later.
Beautiful, beautiful. Quickly, Kim's going to sneak in and get a question as well. So.
Yes.
Hello, my darling. I love you so much. Thank you for giving us your time right now. I know how busy you are. I just have one quick comment. I have been informed that the councils and various foundations that are becoming cohesive and going to the meetings at the moment, there's a name that's been allocated called the Great Assembly. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Yes, we are aware that there are different, I had mentioned earlier, different councils will be coming, and from both sides as well. We ask that there be more representation of just the general population, if you will, in this meeting, so that they can give their impression and opinions of it as well, because we believe the common folk, as they would call them, are important to this decision.
Yes, thank you, Tekkrr, very much, and please stay in touch.
I will indeed.
Sure.
I must go. Yes.
Just one more, Tekkrr.
Tekkrr. Hello, it's Shir and Nivi here.
Shir and Nivi, yes.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm very well. I just want to ask a few very short questions. First of all, is my messages from Grendel were passed?
Yes.
Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Secondly, me and my brother are volunteers, as always, to come to the council. And yes.
There are many volunteers. You are... Yes, we know that you have volunteered, which is wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, the Elohim also said it could be very wonderful if I could come and speak with the Israelis.
This is being considered. There is much being still considered. We have a few days left.
Yes. Thank you very, very much. Much love, Tekkrr. Also, my mother sends her love, as always.
Much love to her as well.
Thank you for coming, Tekkrr.
Thank you. And I will be going now.
Okay.
I love all of you, and I am grateful for humanity, because now I see why you are chosen. Much love.
I would also like to volunteer to do that.
Thank you.
Much love.
Namaste, dear one.
Namaste.
Gratitude. Thank you for coming.
We should.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Jim. Welcome back. Get your water.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm sure you're thirsty.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
How is everybody?
We're good.
well.
Tekkrr pretty
Good.
much answered everybody, so that was good.
Yeah, apologies.
May I make one announcement?
Sure.
I will be doing a meditation and prayer for the success of the meeting
Good.
on Monday,
Uh-huh.
2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So all those who would like to join in that meditation and prayer are more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a channel
that-
session that time, but I will be with you when I can.
If you
Yes,
share that up,
thank
Sarah,
you.
we spread it around the circles for you as well, and make sure everyone gets the notice for you.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Sabrina or someone would like to close in
Okay.
prayer or
Yeah.
with a blessing or something?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah,
I
we're
like
running
one
a
as
little
well.
long.
Yes. Yes,
We started late,
We're
but-
running a little long, so yeah, I'll keep. Okay, keep that short.
I'll have one as well.
We started late.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have learned today about different things in perception, consciousness of the heart, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. Make sure that you bring these all into perspective. And we love you because you have so many perspectives. It keeps things balanced, it keeps things under control, and it keeps things moving in a direction that is moving toward community. We understand that your love and your light are starting to be brighter than they were before, and we know that we will continue to guide you along your way, not in a pushy or restrained way, but in a just loving and protective way. Take our blessing and know that we are with you. Much love. Alrighty.
I'd like
Any
to go.
announcements?
I'd like to do a blessing.
Yes. Hold us in your light. Hold us in your thoughts and prayers as we hold you in your thoughts and prayers as well. We know that your community is growing, and our community is growing closer to yours. Let us unite in a greater way. Let us know that we are a part of one another in the sense that we think that we know each other. We will get to know each other in a greater time when things are in that right perception. Care for us as we care for you. Dream with us as we dream with you for your future in enlightenment. Enlightenment is so special to us in the sense that we are different in face and idea than you, but yet the same in spirit and heart. So therefore, take us in with you and let us be a part of who you are, so that we may grow together and find love in a community in the universe, unlike any others, and like many others.
Thank you, Jim.
Namaste.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and participating.
Thank you. Jim, did you got
Love
my
you
message?
all there. Everybody here says Mark and Sandy and Will all say love you much.
Much
Thank
love.
Love you all.
And
All right.
for him
Have a
in-
great day.
Thank you.
having your energy there is really important for Jim, and we all appreciate everybody that turns up to his place every week. So from all of us, from the internet, from around the world, we send you our love. And thank you so much for being there for him. And also, I want to give a big shout out to Bridget Nielsen, because I forgot to do that last week with our hybrid child webinar, and I said I would. She's done a lot of great work, and I just wanted to give her a big shout out and thanks for all that as well. Like I said before, if any of this information has been beneficial to you and you feel like you want to give an exchange, we accept donations on the website. Jim humbly accepts anything from a few small dollars, anything up to a few thousand. So make his day. And we love you all. Thank you so much for turning up. You can check us out on YouTube, Hucolo TV, www.humancolony.org, and we will see you next week. Not Jim, unfortunately. We'll be doing our own little webinar, won't we, Jim? But you'll be there in spirit, yeah?
Yes, I will. Yeah. I'll be thinking about you for sure.
That's magic. So, everyone wants to say goodbye and drop the broadcast?
Thank you, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Will.
Bye. Much love. And Sandy and Mark.
See you next week.
Okay. Yeah? See, I won't see you next week, but I'll watch you on the YouTube presentation.
Yeah, it's not a touch.
Oh,
Jim,
that's right.
Did you send my message?